Good morning and welcome back to the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you joining us if you're watching us live. If you're not watching us live and you're listening to this later or watching the video, we appreciate that as well. Just thanks for tuning in and checking us out here on this Thursday morning. Lots to talk about, lots going on. We will be getting into all that in just a second. Just remember, if you ever miss these shows, we do upload them, www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. They're audio and video versions there. They are free. We're on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. You can check us out on those platforms and give us a like, share, subscribe, all those good, great things. Traffic this morning, excuse me, is backed up near to Juban Road on I-12 westbound. Delays at Juban Road and 190. Some delays on Hatchell Lane as well as Highway 16 as folks are dropping their kids off at Denham Springs schools. Some heavy delays on Greenville Springs once you get into Central. No real delays on 64 heading into Central. And minor delays at 190 4H Club Road and River Road in Denham Springs. Please remember, North River Road will be closed in a section near the new retirement home as they fix some issues that were caused when they were tying into the sewer line. So please remember that's going to be closed today. It's currently 50 degrees, 74 degrees is your high, 61 your low overnight. Remember that all the football games got moved up to today except Walker versus Central because tomorrow we're expecting heavy thunderstorms, bringing in some cooler weather again for the weekend. High of 68 on Saturday with a low of 53, so it should be good weather for that. Excuse me. It should be good weather for that LSU football game. So let's jump into it. One of the things that we did not throw out there is we did have a little bit of breaking news yesterday as a former Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office lieutenant as well as a local school teacher were arrested on rape charges. The teacher was allowed to resign first and then she was taken in. Mr. Dennis Wallace Perkins of Denham Springs was booked into the Sabine Parish Detention Center late Tuesday night before being transported to Livingston Parish. His bond was set at $1.6 million. His wife, Cynthia Thompson Perkins, who is the teacher, also of Denham Springs, was booked in the Livingston Parish Detention Center at 4:39 a.m. Wednesday and was being held on a $500,000 bond. Excuse me. He was booked on 60 counts of production of pornography, including involving a juvenile. I'm sorry, it's hard to read. A juvenile under the age of 13, 2 counts of first-degree rape, 3 counts of possession of pornography involving a juvenile under the age of 13, and 2 counts of video voyeurism and 2 counts of obscenity. She is being charged for roughly the same thing. She worked at Westside Junior High in Walker. So if there are any more details, trial dates, things like that come out for that particular story, we will let you know. But that was one of the late-breaking pieces of news yesterday afternoon. So please keep the affected families in your thoughts and prayers. Trying to, if you know them, reach out to them, see if they're okay. There was a lot going on there, and it wasn't just their children who were involved. It was their friends, their children's friends as well. So please, please, please keep those families in your thoughts moving forward for the rest of the week. And if you know them, reach out again. Make sure that they're okay. It's a very hard thing to go through, very hard. So sort of a somber tone on the parish yesterday afternoon, as well as carrying into this morning. So. For understandable reasons. Next, we're talking about, you can check this out at www.livingstonparishnews.com/news. The final meeting of the bicycle PED plan, which is bicycle and pedestrian plan, if you don't know what PED means, for the Denham Springs area. The way this kind of came into fruition is Denham Springs applied for a grant through the Capital Region Planning Commission, and they received a portion as well as Baker, and hired a firm called Gresham Smith, who sort of specializes in these sort of things. And it was their job to do the engineering, do the planning work, all that stuff on this plan, draw it up, and hold public meetings. Well, this last meeting, last Thursday, was the last public hearing that they'll have. There's a lot of lasts. They're in the process now of updating the plan. Each time they've updated it, it's taken public input into account. What do you want? Where do you want it? How do you want it there? There are 4 different kinds of bike paths that they're considering, which are anything from shared bike lanes to dedicated bike lanes to green space bike lanes. And according to Jeanette Clark, who's the recovery coordinator for Denham Springs, they're trying to pull this together with the drainage and infrastructure work they're already doing in the city. They had a 10% match, which was about $10,000 on this initial plan. And eventually it will grow from there. But the fact of the matter is that if they don't have the plan, then nothing will happen. So the way that works is, say DOTD wants to come in and overlay a road, well, they can say, hey, we also have this bicycle and pedestrian master plan, and folks are looking for a crosswalk here and a dedicated bike lane here where you're going to be doing the work. And DOTD says, okay, that's definitely part of what we can do, and we'll add that into the scope of work. Oh, hey, by the way, all of this has something to do with drainage, and here's how that works. Oh, that also fits into the plan, so we're going to do all that all at once. So that's the idea, is to try to have all these plans in place so that when the powers that be come in to update infrastructure, they can include all these things. It will be sometime in late November, possibly as late as December, before that final plan comes before the council for adoption. So we'll be keeping you apprised of that. But we do have a copy of the plan. We're waiting for a green light, I guess you can say, to publish it online and to put it in the paper. So once we have that final plan, you, the public, will be able to see it and see what Denham Springs has got going on that note. So tonight is Parish Council. Now, there's 2 things going on, one this afternoon, one this evening. One thing going on this afternoon, of course, as we mentioned, is the groundbreaking for the new Denham Springs Elementary. It's important to note that this school is the result of FEMA saying that it was substantially damaged and it had to be demolished and rebuilt. Can't just rebuild the school the same way it was before. You have to meet certain codes, especially within the city of Denham Springs. So it's going to be a brand new school, and really making lemonade out of lemons with this one, and turning it into a brand new school for these kids. It was the right decision to make by the school system, and they did what they had to do. And now they're going to be getting a new school for these kids. It's also important to remember that folks in Denham Springs pay a millage on top of the regular school sales tax and on top of the regular school millage for new schools and school improvement. Our feature next week for the paper is going to be, how does the money work? How does the school system collect it, and how do they spend it? But it is important to note, we had some people from Springfield and Albany area asking us, well, what about these schools? What about Springfield and Albany both had a millage on the ballot in fall of 2016, and it failed. Both of them failed. Pretty handily, too, in political terms, about 70-30 for both of them. No to yes. So, it's hard. It's hard to explain to folks that, well, you declined it. Again, Live Oak or the Watson area has a millage for their school. Walker has a millage for their school, and Denham has a millage for their school. So, if you're unwilling to increase and make the spending, you're not going to get a new school. That's not how the financials for the school system work. So, again, we have that. Also, the parish council tonight. A few things going on. It might be some fireworks, might not. Premier Concrete made it out of planning a few weeks ago and will appear before the council for final approval of their plat, which does include an 8-foot privacy fence. This time, I guess, I'm not sure if you did it on purpose, but it is not around the dormitory. It is now around their entire property. I was looking at the plat and I couldn't find it. And then I looked, I was like, is that? Yep, there it is. 8-foot privacy fence all the way around the front. So it kind of an interesting play there. But among that, they do have, full set of plans, plat. Will be interesting to see how the parish council handles it. There were 2 no's on the planning commission to not approve this plat, but 1 absent and 6 yeas, so on it goes. So it will be interesting to see how those 9 gentlemen handle that tonight. Among other things, there's some board issues that they're trying to handle. Mr. Gary Frog Talbert, as well as Mr. Tracy Gerlinghouse, were trying to expand some of their local boards. Couldn't do it because while the state allowed it, there was no local ordinance to govern it. So they're going to have to discuss that tonight, maybe bring that forward. Also, a reintroduction of all of the grinder pump issue is coming up tonight. kind of skipped that a couple of times, probably due to election season, among other things. So be on the lookout for that stuff tonight. And again, a reminder, all the football games are tonight as well. So a lot going on Thursday evening. So, watch us on Twitter, watch us on Facebook. We're all going to be out there updating you on scores and what's going on at those meetings. Garret Graves testified on Tuesday in front of the, Traffic and Infrastructure Committee, T&I, if you will. And the crux of the committee meeting was accountability. And so a lot of folks were there, especially in disaster recovery. So you had FEMA, you had the Economic Development Administration, among others. Who would not appear was HUD. And Mr. Graves, Congressman Graves, said he knew why, because they were the focus of much of his testimony. He just said that the process afterwards, especially with regard to HUD's community development block grants, which is that $1.2 billion, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that FEMA swoops in, gives people things like, housing in terms of mobile housing units or hotel stays, and then when it's time for them to back out, HUD is not ready to come in. In fact, it was almost 1.5 to 2 years before HUD stepped in to help. So he just said that was stupid. He did use the word stupid, so I'm going to use it too. Ridiculous, and he said it made the United States government look like a circus. So he's hoping that moving forward, they're going to be able to pass legislation that would make those transitions between FEMA, but between disaster survival and disaster recovery seamless. He also said there were certain things that FEMA was supposed to be doing, especially after passing the Disaster Recovery Act of 2018, that they're just not doing. One of them is there's supposed to be a program, much like the community rating system, except this is just disaster resiliency, period. And they give bonuses to these communities that perform, these actions. Right now, it's a 25% cost share with FEMA. You do these things, you're supposed to be able to get a discount on that cost share. Well, they haven't implemented yet. According to Garret Graves, there are folks from FEMA that says they may not implement it anytime soon or at all. It's a law, it's on the books. According to Mr. Garret Graves, they won't really have the discretion to say they're not going to do that. He's hoping they'll come back before the Transportation, and I call it traffic, it's Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, and tell them, this is our implementation timeline and this is what we're going to do about it. So we'll be keeping an eye on that as well. We appreciate Mr. Garret Graves up there in Washington fighting the good fight for us here in Livingston Parish. One last time before I get into cross country, I'm going to mention that we do have all of our football games except Walker versus Central tonight. That is Thursday. Denham plays Live Oak. Albany plays Laranger, and Springfield plays Pope John Paul. Our football show will be ready by lunch. We hope you can check that out. We're going to try to get it out in front of everybody before those games start, and so you can check that out before you watch them or read about them, kind of get a little primer going there. Now let's talk about cross country. Parish cross country meet was yesterday. Live Oak extends the streak in boys cross country to 5 titles. However, Denham Springs' Brennan Amato won the individual title. So the Eagles finished with 28 points. They were the team winner, and placed 5 runners in the top 10 with Jack Earl, Devin McClendon, Parker Gearing, John Dyer, and Nathan Morales as your top 5 for the Eagles. So that yesterday was a great day. It was good weather. It was very sunny, and a lot of fun for the parish cross-country meet. So congratulations to Mr. Amato for your individual championship, and congratulations to Live Oak Eagles on the boys championship. On the girls' side, it was a pretty clean sweep by the Live Oak Lady Eagles. The Lady Eagles scored 20 points. So if you don't know how cross-country works, the lower you place, that's your point. So the lowest point total actually wins. So the Lady Eagles scored 20 points on their way to a 5th straight team title Wednesday at Sidney Hutchinson Park. And they did it behind Sylvia White, who captured the individual title as a freshman. And after Kylie Zeller accomplished the same feat just last season. and she ran in 20 minutes 40.26 seconds. So let's see if we can't. Freshman Brooke Fontenot took second. Zeller, as we just mentioned, took fourth. Jenna McGee took fifth, and Ava Forrest took eighth. So congratulations to Miss White and the Lady Eagles on another championship. Last but certainly not least, before we let you go today, Northside Elementary welcomed students and parents, and they had an escape room. In this case, escape the school on Friday, on family night, Tuesday, October 1st. So that, again, was at Northside Elementary in Denham Springs, and they had an escape room called Escape the School. It was a lot of fun. You can check that out, www.livingstonparishnews.com/living. One more time, let's check out your traffic for today. Folks are starting to funnel out of the Denham Springs area and get on I-12. It is backed up. Not so bad today. It's only backed up past Pete's Highway at the moment, clearing up around Millerville Road and looking relatively clear with some minor delays after the 10-12 split if you're heading all the way into Baton Rouge. Minor delays on Hatchell Lane as folks are dropping their kids off at the junior high and funneling out. Some minor delays at 190 4-H Club Road and Old River Road. Please remember that the northern part of Old River Road will be closed starting at 8 a.m. For some road fixtures and overlay. So please try to use alternate routes to stay on 16. If you got to get on River Road, take Centerville there and cross over. That'll get you past that road work area. Minor delays on 16 out of Watson as folks have finished dropping their kids off at school. And minor delays on 64 heading into Central. It is currently 50 degrees. 74 is your high today. 61 your overnight low. Some heavy rain tomorrow, which is why, again, all those football games are moved up a day. 71 degrees will be your high on Friday. 57 your low. 90% chance of rain. They're suggesting that it will be thunderstorms. One last time, my name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you joining us on this Thursday. You can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We're online, www.livingstonparishnews.com. Remember, you can always check these shows out if you ever miss them, www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. They are free. There are audio and video versions as well. We hope you have a great Thursday. It's turning out to be a beautiful day before we get some rain tomorrow, and we will catch you tomorrow morning.